We start off this morning with the Daily Nation in Kenya. Let's see what's going on. And on the front page of the Daily Nation newspaper in Kenya, the big story says, Shift. Cabinet has highest representation of women since independence. This makes me so happy, so excited. Now, President William Ruto, before coming into power, did promise equal representation of women in the cabinet. And this so far seems to be the highest. President William Ruto has crafted his government with a keen eye on women, with 7 forming part of his cabinet, the highest since independence, while others are positioned in key state agencies. These trusted allies have the president's ear and are often consulted on important matters of national interest. For details of that, see page 7. So there are 2 angles to this story. On the one hand, there's a conversation about how President William Ruto promised 50% female participation and female involvement in governance, representation, thank you. But then he came into power and hasn't been able to fulfill that 50% promise. On the other hand, there have been arguments about how, there's 2/3. There's so many layers to the story, but I choose to celebrate and focus on and highlight the importance of the fact that this is the highest representation of women. And I'm hoping that, other nations can take a cue and it gets better even from here. But that women are appointed not just because they're women. Yeah. And it's not just a thing of, they call it tokenism. We have a lot of men here. Let's just put 1 or 2 women to balance it out. We have a lot of mixed race or Caucasians here. Let's just put 2 Africans. There are women who are capable and can do the job. And these women should be given a chance. On the top of the paper, don't touch matatas, Gachagua tells Sakaja in Tasulova Tamini in downtown Nairobi. The details on page 5. MPs give hope to Kenyans working in the Gulf on page 22. Main suspect in Baby Sagini horror attack seized in city on page 2. Opinion poll by the right we have, might we go the Ghana way? What happened in Ghana on Monday this week when the government suspended payments on external debts, including syndicated loans and Eurobonds, should be a wake-up call for us, writes Jaindi Kisero. We've been following the story in Ghana as well. 2 more stories. IMF's tax plans ushering gloomy Christmas. Kenyans should brace for higher fuel prices, costlier loans, and a raft of new tax measures and proposals by the IMF, even as President William Ruto crafts his first budget amounting to 3.641 trillion shillings. See it on back page. IMF, conversations involving the IMF, they don't always leave people feeling like they're very happy and smiling. It's always feeling like a Trojan horse in some form. And
absolutely not.
Anyway, that's all that we could take this morning on the front page of the Daily Nation in Kenya.
All right, moving away from Kenya, let's see what's going on in Namibia this morning. It says, Esau says law change not for fish rot scheme. Of course, you can find more of that from Berhad Esau, I beg your pardon. Still here, lightning victims mourned by hundreds. And also on the Namibian this morning, avoid drinking and driving, practice safe sex. Erongo Health Services ready for festive season pressure.
But these are very valid advice, valid words, because we find that there are higher incidences of accidents during the festive season because everybody's in the spirit of making merry and people are drinking. If you're going to drink, have a clique of friends. And one person should volunteer to be the one that doesn't take alcohol for that outing.
Driver.
Designated driver, so that everybody can get home safe and alive. Absolutely. You need to be alive to be able to drink tomorrow. Accidents
on the road and accidents in the bedroom.
What kind of accidents happen in the bedroom?
Well, it says here, practice safe sex. Erongo Health Services ready for festive season pressure.
Right.
Also on the Namibian this morning, cops battle to detect heavily concealed drugs. And finally, Zim lithium export ban enforced. Just a few stories this morning on the Namibian this morning.
All right, let's head to West Africa, looking at Nigeria, where we're reporting live from this morning. On the front page, we have of this Nigeria, Dear Peter, I'm stepping aside on page 4. And then you have the picture of the former DG of the Labour Party, Donye Okukwe, with his hands almost like he's in a pleading form. Very interesting picture used there. Okukwe, Obi's campaign DG, resigns after money laundering conviction. It's a systematic attack on us, UNISA spokesperson Obidati PCC says. We've been following up with the story, and of course, there have been conversation as to the fact that a lot of what he's been accused of was done whilst he was in the PDP, and this might just be this is a smear campaign on the Labour Party, according to the members of the Labour Party. On the front page still, NDLEA seizes 450 billion naira worth of drugs, arrests 23,907 suspects in 22 months. AON hints at flight cancellation over impending Jet A1 scarcity. On page 15, there we go again. Jet A1 scarcity. We're expecting, the prices of flying is already ridiculous.
And it's
the
going to
money
go
with
higher.
which people are using to move within intra-country travel, it's almost equivalent to, inter-country travel. So what you would typically use to go to Ghana, for example, you will use it to go to another state in Nigeria, and you're wondering what is going on. Because back in the day, I've taken a 50,000 naira flight to Ghana, but not anymore, because that's what you would pay more than that to go to Abuja. But well, that's that for that. Senate confirms Onoche's appointment, 12 orders for NDDC board on page 13. And final story, again, reps give CBN governor 2 days to appear over withdrawal limit. Or what? Somebody say, or what? As federal government to stop cash withdrawal from all public accounts. Okay. That's all that we can take this morning on This Nigeria.
It's pretty dramatic in Nigerian newspapers.
We're seeing new stories and new updates. I heard one update this morning just before we got on air, which I'm yet to confirm, about the dollar account and the measures that are being implemented to, govern people who are trying to withdraw money from their domiciliary account. And I'm wondering, hey.
It kind of looks like the Central Bank of Nigeria is really just doing trial and error with a lot of things and seeing what works here and what doesn't work.
In the words of Nyesom Wike, INEC.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move away from This Nigeria. See what's on the Blueprint newspapers this morning, still here in Nigeria. It says, Tinubu ready to build Nigeria in difficult times. Atiku to open all borders. My opponents lack track record, says the APC candidate. And also, ex-VP donates 50 million naira to victims of insecurity in Katsina. Peter Obi says era of unfulfilled promises over as Doyin Okupe quits as his campaign DG. Pretty dramatic scenes across Nigeria's electoral season. 2023, INEC to deploy over 1 million personnel and massive materials nationwide. Signs revised MOU with road transport marine worker unions, and also appeals to unions and service providers to abide by MOU spirit. It also says 100,000 vehicles and 4,200 boats and naval gunboats needed. Still on the Blueprint this morning, Buni orders release of detained teenager who insulted him. And also, $547 million generated from 5G auction, says President Buhari. And also, security operatives neutralized 12 suspected bandits in Bauchi. U-tide flight disruptions loom as Jet A1 scarcity persists. Olive already spoke about that on This Nigeria. And also, Senate ignores critics, confirms Onoche and 12 others for NDDC board. Finally, this morning, currency volatility, inflationary pressures to determine foreign investments. And that's, of course, from the FBN Quest. These are the stories that we can share at this time in the newspapers. We, of course, will be bringing you more of these papers in the second half of Breakfast Central on a Wednesday morning. And, of course, we're saying good morning once again to all of you across the continent and beyond.